Welcome to SMS-Magic's educational videos. In this video, we'll walk you through the process to set up the audit consent database as a part of the multi-channel compliance of the SMS-Magic Converse app on Salesforce. SMS-Magic is a top-rated conversational messaging solution that empowers businesses to drive user engagement, improve conversions, and market their offerings with a seamless integration with the leading CRM platforms. Let's see how the consent database works. Log into your Salesforce org using your valid credentials. Click on the App menu icon on the top left corner to access the app launcher. Search for SMS-Magic Converse app in the search field. The Converse homepage will appear, where you can see details of your account, the plan that you have selected, available messaging credits, and an option to upgrade your plan. You can also see details such as messages sent, pending replies, messages received, and active conversations. Click on the Converse settings icon. On this SMS-Magic setup page, you need to complete the setup steps such as registration and setup, user management, message configuration, and sender ID and assignment. Now, go to the multi-channel compliance step. This section enables you to manage region-specific messaging compliance guidelines across multiple channels. You can enable or disable compliance guidelines for the selected channels. To begin, set up the consent database. You have options for consent management based on recipient preferences. When you enable mobile number as a record parameter, all consents will be accepted only when responses are received through the default mobile number that the customer provides. This is a mandatory parameter and will have to be included in every combination. When you enable mobile plus sender ID, consent records will be registered when responses are received from the registered mobile number and by the defined sender ID of the customer. When you enable mobile plus content type, the consent records will be registered against responses received from the defined phone number of the customer for a specified content type sent to the customer. When you enable mobile plus sender ID plus content type, consent records will be registered against responses received from the defined phone number of the customer for a specified content type sent to the customer and by the sender ID of the user. Kindly note that for channels other than SMS, the sender ID will be considered as a default parameter along with the selection you make. Click Learn More link to know more about consent database. If you want to make changes, contact our SMS-Magic support team by writing us an email at care@sms-magic.com. For managing the consent record expiry, enable or disable the toggle switch as needed to align with your country's compliance regulations. If the setting is enabled, define the consent expiry in number and select the frequency in days, or weeks or months and click Confirm. You need to maintain the consent records of contacts for up to 4 years from the date of its receipt in order to avoid future disputes. Click View Consent Records for viewing sample database and more details. A new tab appears showing all the recently viewed consents. Click on the SMS-Magic Converse tab to navigate back to the consent database setup section. For manually capturing or to revoke the content, enable or disable the toggle switch. This helps protect your organization from future disputes, and it's advisable to maintain each contact's consent for at least 4 years from that date in which it was given. By default, this settings is disabled. Kindly enable this to allow the users to manually add Edit Consent Records option if you want to allow agents to add consent records manually. The consent record database will be created only after you complete the compliance settings. For non-admin users, in addition to enabling this feature, you have to provide users with the custom permission allowed to add manual consent to help them create and update consent record databases. Once you are done with setting up the consent database, navigate to the consent method and content section. You've now configured the Setup Consent Database for multi-channel compliance in SMS-Magic Converse. Ensure compliance with consent and audit record requirements to maintain a strong and secure messaging environment. Thank you for watching. Continue using SMS-Magic Converse for seamless conversations with your customers.